Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good day. I have been out thrifting. I haven't been in a couple weeks because of my internet, but I think we've got that problem solved. So I did go thrifting, did find some really amazing things, and naturally I come right on here and share them with you guys. So before you come in the chat, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video. So it's rather windy out there, and we do have some inclement weather coming up. Hey, Lenore, welcome in. So hey, Dawn, welcome in. I was having thrifting withdrawals. So wait till you see this. It was well worth it. Well, I had to get my hair cut anyway. But boy, we got to do two of them, guys. Two different videos. Hey, Rudy, welcome in. Welcome in, you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. And it's windy out there, guys. Dawn, is it kind of windy where you're at as well? I know it's windy here pretty bad. So I tell you, yeah, it's windy. Yeah. I was coming back in the house from outside getting something out of my car, and I heard this big limb come down. It was over at my back behind me at my neighbor's. Hey, Douglas, welcome in. And this big old limb came down, and the fence that's up there, it's just a piece of fence, and it just kind of crushed it. So hey, Jaden, welcome in, sweetie. But I tell you, when you come up a flight of steps like I do with this stuff, you guys really mean a lot to me, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10 steps up here. So naturally, I wanted to share it. So, that's why I'm up here a little winded, because I did travel. You guys must mean a lot to me for me to do this. Well, I know you do, but yeah, I got to go up 10 steps and come upstairs. But anyway, it's good to see you guys. Whoa. Prayers for everyone in Illinois. There has been multiple tornadoes in the last 10 minutes. My goodness. Oh my, and that's further north. Oh yeah, this is the time of year, guys, that here about 6 years ago on March the 2nd, we had 2 tornadoes come through here. It was terrible. So it totally decimated the school. It sent a school bus across the road into this restaurant, which as luck would have it, they had a basement. And they had just got down there when that bus come right through. It went backwards across the road into that restaurant. So they just barely got to safety there. But hey, R&R, welcome in, sweetie. So we are experiencing some wind. We have a tornado watch. But, March can be really... Romel, can be really, really, like I said, 6 years ago on March the 2nd, we had 2 tornadoes tear through here, and it tore up a lot. The electricity, I remember I was working, and I was working in Scott County, which is like 10 to 12 miles north of here. And it was supposed to come up the expressway, which I would have been on that if the lady that I was taking care of, someone called her and said, take cover. A tornado's coming. So she was upset. She was really, and I said, don't worry. I said, let's go. There was no windows in her bathroom. So I said, sit on your shower chair and I'll get a bunch of pillows. Don't worry, I'm not leaving. And, if I would have left when I normally would have, I would have been on the expressway right when that was going down through there. So that was a heavenly intervention right there, for sure. But yeah, and there was one tornado and they was inside the school and they come outside and there come another one. The telephone poles were down like dominoes, you could tell one down, 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 but it was a very scary time. So we will get right into this because I know you guys are curious. And what can I do with my phone? Right in front of my face. This, guys, look at this. Now, there's something about this is very different. See, you have that right there. But on the other side, it almost looks like a repair, but I think it was a factory defect from way back in the day. And there's that one. And here, I'll show you that again. But guys, this is really old, and I'll tell you what we're looking at here. Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. I usually like to Google things before I purchase them in the store, especially those older items. And when I first looked at this, it said Fenton, but it may not be Fenton. It could be another really old glass brand from back in the day. So let me take a look. I'm going to have to turn the fan on. It's hot up here. So the first thing that comes up is Fenton. And if that's Fenton, that's worth a lot of money. But there's also a similar piece entitled Tarleton. Hey, Ginger, sweetheart. But there's also another picture saying that that's not it, but it's ruffled. And if this is Fenton, this is going to go for high dollar, just saying. Look how big that is. I do know it is vintage. Let me take a look at this. Okay, let me see if I can get a better look. If that's Fenton, I done hit a gold mine because you don't find Fenton pieces that big that come cheap, that's for sure. That's exactly what it is. So it is a Fenton ruffled edge glass basket, clear glass basket. It says the pattern, no, it's not hobnail because this is like a thumbprint. Let me take a further look. It's got like a thumbprint, so I don't know why they've got that labeled. Let me enlarge this picture because it's definitely not. And it looks dead like it, so yeah, it's a Fenton. Oh, did I ever hit the proverbial jackpot? Yep. But it's got a tiny little imperfection on I don't know if I suspected it may have been repaired, but I think it was actually a factory defect, which probably makes it even more special. And Fenton ruffled edge hobnail basket clear. But this is not hobnail, and I don't know why they're saying hobnail because it's obvious that in their picture it is not hobnail. But yeah, it's Fenton. Talking about lightning striking in the right spot, that is Fenton. Oh, did we find a goodie? I'll give you a measurement on it. You don't find Fenton pieces this large. If you do, they come at a premium. Don't tell me I come up here without my ruler. So, hey, Brian, hun. So, our little dynamo here, and it is a dynamo because it is Fenton. So, it's coming in at about right at 8 inches tall. From ruffle to ruffle, it is approximately almost 11 inches. Then the other direction, it is 8 inches. It is approximately about 4 inches deep, and it is Fenton. Score, score, score. There's your bottom right there. But like I said, this had to have happened in the factory. It does, who would, if you got something broken on a, there's no crack or anything right there. So I think this was done right there in the factory because there's no other cracking on this handle. But it is Fenton, and it is a beautiful basket. Let me move it in a little bit. Score. So I've been picking up things here or there. And here we have a Lefton piece. That right there is hand painted. And what this is, it is, you see these in the woods all the time and they're wild. That's a dogtooth violet, is what that is. You see these all the time. If you go in the woods, you probably recognize that. It's an old fashioned flower, more than likely a bulb, and it is left in China. And if I can show it to you, it might be kind of hard. But right there it is, Lefton. So it's a little thing, it hangs on the wall. I've seen it, but this is a hand painted with a dogtooth violet. That's what that's called. And you might see them out in the woods. They're purple, they're purple, but they're a wild type flower. How many stripes in the U.S. flag? Let me see. Is it 26? He got me. He challenges my brain. Isn't it 26 stripes? He got me on that. I have to go back to school on that one. It's for you to quote 13. Okay. Okay, you guys know that I love, love, love boxes. So, now guys, I don't know if this is an older box made. I think this is old, guys. Look at that. Of course, it does have a few condition issues on it. That is hand painted. Look at the hardware on that. Now, that's really beautiful. Beautiful hardware. Here's your how it opens, and it is painted. You know me, I can't pass up a good box, or any box for that matter. I think it is, Brian, and the reason why I'm saying that, see the detailing, and there are a few little imperfections. If you're going into the woods and you find a group of flowers, 9 cut out of 10, that would be grandma's garden. Let me explain something in the past that era was someone's home, and if it is to be a bulb, plant it. Oh yeah, it's easy to transplant, but you'll see those in the woods. I might look kind of prissy, but when I was a kid, I played out in the woods all the time. But look at the edging on that. Isn't that amazing? And that's why I think it's old. Got the real nice old brackets on it. Now that's something that you don't see. Let's see how big she is. He or she. I just thought it was really pretty. Me and my boxes. So it is just almost about a couple marks off of being 12 inches long. I think it's beautiful. Then we have a good 9 inches right here. And here's the inside, which is terrible. It needs to be cleaned up. I haven't cleaned it yet. But there it is. What in the world is that? So it is in relatively good shape. And I just thought it was beautiful. Me and my boxes, and it shuts like that. All right, Gina. You're not holding your mouth right to close that. Oh, it goes right in that little. That's really neat. It has a little hole on the other side that this thing goes into right there. And it goes into a hole that's, let's see if I can show it. There's a little hole right there, and that little pin goes right, the little hook goes right through it. Yeah, bulbs have a one thing about a bulb, they do spread. A lot of times some of your older plants will produce a seed from the main flower and it will drift out somewhere. We've got some old, they're, it's like a morning glory and it's white and it's about that big and it's the most aggravating. It's got all kinds of greenery to it. And I let it grow up on something and it's pretty until it dies back and it looks terrible. So that's got little seeds inside of those blooms, and they will work their way up other plants and smother them out. So I try to keep them pulled out. My husband said, "Well, I'd like to know who planted that." I said, "It probably come from somewhere out, out of the wind, and you know." But isn't that this is painted, guys? How beautiful! That's painted. You can feel the petals the way they did them. Gorgeous. Oh, like I said, I had too much to carry up here. And as a matter of fact, where's that other thing? I found this little glass container and it had glass. Hey, bird on a wire, welcome in. And it had little glass they're not AB coated, but they're glass. And there was a bunch of them, and I forgot to bring that up here. But wait till you see this next piece. I'm going to have to put my muscles on because I'm going to need them. So hang on. Because this piece is colossal. I don't know a lot about this yet. I just Googled it, and maybe you guys will see what I see in it. Let me get a drink of coffee here. But let me make sure I don't fall over anything. Look at that. Now, is that not beautiful? This thing is huge. I know very little about it. Let me get it up here without breaking half a dozen things. So, look at the hardware on this. That is like isn't that beautiful? But look at all that. And here's your legs. Let me move it back. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, you ask yourself, is that what I think it is? Well, I really don't know. But look at the hardware on this thing. And Ginger said she wants that piece. Well, it said 2 pieces because that is the bottom is a separate piece. So let me move this. They had it taped down. And I thought, well, where's the second piece at? This is beautiful. I have transplanted plants all my life, and there's a street in Vernon, Illinois. Every tree on that street I planted, or should I say I transplanted. This thing is huge, guys, and when I seen this, there are condition issues, but look how beautiful this thing is. I haven't cleaned it up yet. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to have to bring it down to open it, guys. We got something. Here we go. Look how perfect it is on the outside. And there's the inside right there. So it is perfect. It's almost like I don't know. It kind of, I'm not for sure if that's a decal on that, but look at the hardware on this. When I seen that, I said it's something special. They don't put something like that on something that's not special. So, couldn't you imagine, guys, having like a tea set or something, or an old tea set or some valuables that you put in here and keep it in here, like something from Japan or something like that? Couldn't you? I think this is worth some money, guys. I really do. Let me move it up. So, yeah. So, like I said, this separates, this is the base of it, and they've taped it. So that's why I didn't know. They said 2 pieces. I said, well, where's the second piece? It does look like it's, I'm looking at the hardware, and they don't do things like that. Probably at one time there may have been something that went through that right there. See the holes in that? They don't, I think this is brass or some kind of brass. That is beautiful, and I imagine there'll be a feeding frenzy. Here's the back of it. There's your back. There's your side. And there's your other side. Looks like a traditional Japanese doll cabinet. I don't know. It's about wore me out, but I had to pack this upstairs, and it wasn't light neither. So this will be up for grabs. And I think when I take the tape off of it to separate the base from the main part, I'm going to soak a have a warm cloth, because I could just see that peeling something off and me screaming. But let me give you the size on this, guys. This is huge. So we're going to go across. There's 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's 19 and a half inches long. And let's see. 12. About 13 and a half tall. Let me tell you, this thing is gorgeous, and it will be for sale. And like I said, this is no heavier than, I sold this this beveled glass jewelry box, and it wasn't very big, and that was heavy. And this is probably, at least it's heavy, it's probably, it weighs something, just saying. But isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. I don't think that, my theory is, I really don't think that they would go to the amount. I don't think this is hand painted. Who knows? It might be. It could be. It might be a decal. I'm not for sure, but it is gorgeous, and it's a high dollar piece of what would you call that? Furniture. Really, it's like furniture. Isn't it beautiful? But I've seen that, and there are some imperfections, like back here, right down there, you can see them. But as beautiful as this thing is, I don't know, Brian. I was gonna. This thing is huge. I I was going to take this tape off and see if it was marked anything underneath this base. And they got me paranoid because I sure don't want to take it off and then end up with a hot mess. But I guess to keep it together, that's the only way they knew to do it. But it's like a shellac. The black part is shellacked. And it's just a beautiful piece. And this will be up for sale, guys. I can't keep it all. But I just wanted to hit some of the high points of the thrift. And that was a very high point. Once I do a little more research to know what it really is, then we'll have to put a price on it. But when I saw it, I could not pass it up. I just couldn't do it. And the lacquer on this is amazing. I mean, it's not somebody, this is a piece of furniture, really. I know, Brian, I've still got more down. I found some amber colored Anchor Hocking 8 glasses. Vintage Anchor Hocking amber color. I've got 8 glasses like that. And I thought I would start with the heavier part first because I got to carry all that up here stairs here. And there's, like I said, there's 10 steps. And when you got something heavy, it's not any fun. Let me get that off there. I really wish they hadn't put that tape on there, but what you gonna do? But yep, this thing will be up for sale. And really, guys, the shipping on it will not really be bad considering that I've got pirate ship. And you'll be able to get a magnificent piece of art, and that's what this is. Don said you can keep it all. I might be able to, but I'll be walking to get to the door. I probably stubbed my toe 10 or 20 times, but we do like to keep it all, but we can't. But yes, I seen this and it was love at first sight. It was sitting over there and they must have just put it out because I didn't see it when I came in. I'm the queen of getting to it first. It seems like. And it said 2-piece set. I'm like, where's the second part? And it was this thing here on the bottom, but this comes off. See? Oh my goodness, look at the bottom of that. Wow. Huh. I didn't know that was like that on the bottom. Don't mess anything up. But look at the bottom. I am impressed. And there's your bottom. And then you got your base. It doesn't really say anything on it. And then you have your, look at the base. There's the base of it. Isn't that beautiful? So you ask yourself, who would take a piece like this and deck it out like so if it wasn't an important piece? So yeah, that's what's on. That's what that box is sitting on. And here's, of course, you do have some condition issues to it. But hey, the beauty of it is so spectacular. That's not what your eye automatically goes to. Let me lift this up. But it is a spectacular piece, and it will be up for sale too. It will be going. Do this slowly. Yep, it is for sale. I guess I'll have to have some kind of auction here probably next Thursday because I'm getting, and there's your bottom, there's your little feet on it because I'm getting major stuff again. But it's just so decked out and so beautiful. This is what I would call a piece of furniture rather than a box. But that I was in there and I was talking to this other lady and we walked in the back and I took a picture of that and I said, "Oh my God, that's Fenton." And I said that ought to sell for high dollar. And some lady said, "Well, I don't know, Ginger. It could have been, like I said, you have that whole inner part. It could have been for, if you had an old vintage tea set or something that you wanted to protect, you could put it in there. And you could even have your doors open if you wanted to, displaying it and stuff like that. But I guess you could use it for what you wanted. If you had some kind of keepsake or something that you wanted to put in there." And I said, "This lady, I don't know who this lady was," and she overheard me and she goes, "Well," said something about things are not selling. I said, "In my neighborhood they are." She just looked at me real funny and walked on. So, but this is a special. I wonder, like I said, I don't think this was a repair because once something is broken, it's broken. But I think it may have been a defect, which makes it twice as special because it got off the line and out into circulation. But as you can see, but that's Fenton. Boy, that's going to go for a pretty penny. But yeah, I got out there and I've got some other stuff in the trunk and phew. But I'm definitely going to have another sale. I really don't like to have sales that consist of a lot of glass and have them close together because you get in the weeds. You don't want to get behind, you want to keep up, and I don't like to make people wait. So I'm like, it takes a little while when you ship glass, but that right there, I mean, you can tell that it's older to begin with. You don't see that, but it is beautiful. They have their older items back in the second part. They just opened another store in another town in Corden, which is quite a bit a ways for me. And I usually just go to Sellersburg because it's closer. But yep, that will be up on the chopping block. Just saying. The highest bid, like I said, there are imperfections on it, and I will point them out. But think about it. I've looked into it some, but I'm not for sure what. I've seen some online that sell for high dollar. But yeah, that's Fenton, all right. What a score that was. You just never know. And also, guys, I also picked up this. This is a Planters Peanut vintage 75-year anniversary jar, and I've got two of them. I've got two of those. 75-year anniversary. I've got two of those. Let's see what else. Then I have a candle. Well, I'll show you. But you'll get to see it in person also. That's a relish tray, and that is vintage. That is candle wick, is what that is. We got that going. Let's see what else. So I've got more. I've got that amber colored Anchor Hawking vintage 8 8 glasses that are really amazing too. So you'll get to see those in all their glory, and there's 8 of them. You know me, I like that paired stuff. I don't like the it's got to be an even number. I guess I'm superstitious. Also got that bell right there, which is vintage. This one here. I got that bell, and it's a vintage name, so it's crystal. I got that one, but I can't give all the secrets away. I have to save something for. And then I've got some other things. I was out of breath when I brought this up here, but yeah, I've got 2 Planters Peanut 75 years plant special peanut jars. I got 2 of those. So it should be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, 75-year anniversary. So there again, we have something else that's old. Vintage Planters Peanuts clear glass jar, which has a lid on it. I see them for different prices, or from this one's from 1981, but I have 2 of them. 75th anniversary. Bet you didn't know you've been eating that. Hey, Selena, honey. I'll have to. Selena, I got a score today. Look at this Fenton basket. And it's big, too. That's Fenton, so. And that's a nice size. Usually I find the smaller ones, but yeah, this one is Fenton. I don't know. It has that. And let me get my muscles back on, and I'll show you this. We was looking at this last, Selena. Ugh. So this does have condition issues, but it's beautiful, and I can look beyond condition issues. There's the bottom of this thing, and I'll show you what goes on top of it. Now, if you want to talk about gorgeous, let's have a talk about gorgeous. Just look at that. It's got some weight behind it too. So here's the inside of it. It's got beautiful hardware on it. I know, Selena, I think I kind of stole this, but ouch. This is really hard to handle because it's so big. So let me find there's your inside. But I was really impressed by the hardware on that, because they don't put hardware like that on cheap stuff. Look at that. You know, I kind of went by that. And I thought it was neat. Which was really what necessary, they even decorated the base as well. You don't see that very often, like never. Right, Selena. And that will be up for sale along with some other goodies. And I hadn't been thrifting in quite some time, and I thought, today's the day. So I got out, and of course you always see I've got all kinds of things. It's just, excuse me, it's some of them's in the trunk, and Some of them I haven't even pulled out yet, and just some real amazing stuff. Yeah, it is, Selena. It's made. You can tell that it's just really made amazingly. And when I seen it, it was like a moth to a flame. I just went right over there, and I didn't see it at first, so it must not have been out there that long. Yeah, you can see the thing. Of course, I sold a little jewelry box about yay wide and yay tall and it was all mirrors, and I bet you it weighed almost close to that weight. And see, with pirate ship, I think if you have something that weighs a little bit more, it's really not going to hurt you as long as you can get that inside an 18 by 18, you're good to go. Now, if we have to go rigid box, that does add a little more flavor to the equation. Oh, Lord, she'll see that and lose her mind. But like I said, I do have more, and got a 43 by 43. Oh, she'll see it. She'll watch this live and she'll say, oh my God, where did she get that? She'll be going crazy, won't she? But I thought, man. But yeah, I think we're fixing to get some high winds and stuff. So I got a quick fix to my internet so that it won't be horrible, you know. This classic Glenn how was years 98 to 99? Well, they was pretty good, Fern, because I was a lot younger. Yeah, anything's good. Any year like that's good if you're a little bit younger. But I'm so glad I got my internet straightened out and everything's good and it's not driving me bananas. What's It's windy here. We are running from the tornadoes. Um, Douglas was saying that they had some tornadoes in Illinois, which is not far from. No, honey, he's just got autism. Ginger, he's fine. He just wants to belong, but he's fine. That's how they communicate. I used to work with people that had disabilities. So it's okay. He's fine. He or probably a he. See, everybody wants to be a part of something, and he comes in with, he said he is a man. See, I know, Ginger. He comes in quite a bit, and he does pose very fascinating questions, which is neat. Got some beautiful glass the other day, March 44th. Yeah, Selena, I think I saw you was just a minute or two. Where'd you find it? At a thrift store or something like that? I've got a one source. All my stuff comes from one place. Was a kid in 43 and 44. Nope, not me. I was born in 64. So you'll have to change your time there. But yeah, glass. And, Selena will tell you, you can't ship glass in a hot hurry. A small store. 89. So that makes you, Rudy, about the same age as my daughter then. No. She was born in, never mind. But yeah. Yeah, we welcome everyone in. Everybody likes to be a part of something. And imagine your daughter's your age. Yeah, she's an adult now. Where does the time go, But Nope, you can't. If you want to get there, yeah, you have to take time. Do Marines wear shorts? I don't know. Do they? They might when they're not. Um, what do they call that? On duty or whatever. Yeah, you've got to. And man, I have to break up. I uploaded formula. I have to break up if I feel like something's heavy and it's going to cause something to be in jeopardy, I will ship it separate. Do you take? I haven't taken Pepto Bismol in a long time. My daughter had to take some. She had bless her heart, she'd been sick a couple times. Yeah, Waterford, that's a good brand. Pray for Allie Patches. Yeah, that's a real good brand. And, when it just takes time, when you do glass, it's got to be done right. And I kind of wrap all my stuff up first. The Marines commercial where Betty Lauder made the sword out of butter by hammering the butter. I don't remember that. So you have to, I try to make sure that everything gets there safely, but sometimes you never know who's handling your items. It's just crazy sometimes. Selena, are you still packing from your last sale, or did you get all your stuff um, taken care of? Oh, I hate to hear that. You guys, Selena's grandson has a kidney disease, and we need to keep praying for him because he's not doing good again, and he gets better, and then he's not done that night. Oh my goodness, Selena got it all done that night. I know, Brian. Isn't it amazing what a little cord can do in an adapter? Imagine that. You know. Yeah, because little Ryland's had a real rough time of it. He'll get better, then won't be so well, but we'll keep praying for Ryland because he's been in the hospital a lot. But yeah, little guy, poor, he's seen a hospital quite a bit, but God's in charge, and I think he's with Rylan and the family because that's scary, guys. It really is to have a little one sick like that. We really take it for granted that you know when you see a child sick and everything, and it just we have healthy children. It's just really, you have to really be thankful for it because there's a lot of, I think the thing that bothers me the worst is when children have cancer. Well, I don't know what will be the next day. I worry about my seizure, so I try to pack it all the night I sell. Yeah. I think, Selena, it probably helps you get your mind off of, his illness and stuff, because that would be a lot, you know. Selena's Little Country Home, not the Texan singer. You got me confused, Rudy. You'll have to be a little more. Oh, yeah, he's been sick quite a bit, and he's had quite a few surgeries, too. You know, the thing I can't stand is to see these commercials where these kids have cancer and all the stuff they go through. Thank goodness for that St. Jude's hospital. I mean, it pays for their medical treatment, and it's just really sad, to see little ones fighting like that. It really is that. And then the dog commercials they have a habit of showing this time of year that breaks my heart. I don't like to see those dog commercials. To see, a dog mistreated, I can't stand that. But I thought I would break this up in two hauls. I think YouTube's taken about 12 subscribers from me, so now I'm going to have to come on and tear it up again so I can get them back. I know they did because I was counting. I look up, they take 6. They do it all. I guess they do that, but I'm going to have to turn the heat up, I guess. Not in the house, but on here. So, you know, do you have Undivision Telemundo? I don't know what that means. But, yeah, YouTube wants to make me triple my work. I can do that, El Chavo del Ocho. Ocho means 8, doesn't it? The Chavo del the Ocho. I know a little bit. I think that's Spanish. It's a Spanish channel. I've never watched that. I remember when I was in school, I think it was Spanish first, and then I took French, and then I was pronouncing French like they do, like I did. Like she asked me, "Did you have Spanish last semester?" I said, "Yep." Oh, the roaches and ants represents on the pest control ads. Oh, okay. But yeah, guys, we need to be weather aware. We're going in. March is almost over with, and April, we have to be really weather aware because there's a lot of, get your tornado gear set up, put your flashlights and your lanterns and everything and get ready because this is getting into the time of year we really have to be weather aware. Why does pest control ads have images of roaches, ants, and bugs? Because that's what they kill, Rudy. That's what they exterminate with the country twang. I got other languages sound goofy when I say it. I have a southern accent myself. I was listening to the radio when I was out and about, and they said Elon Musk said that Social Security was a Ponzi scheme. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's money that people work for. Yeah, he can say it because he's got plenty of it, but people that work for what a Ponzi scheme is the way they keep spending our money. Yeah, Brian's Southern too. The way they keep spending. You might be better off with your money in a sock under the bed because that way you know where it's at. Because you know how they think they're better at spending your money than you are. Because it's a Ponzi scheme. Well, he can say that because he's a millionaire 10 times over, But, people out there that's worked all their life and the Social Security should not be messed with. What's a Ponzi scheme? I mean, I realize that sometimes hard times fall on people and they have to have assistance. But when they get assistance and it makes them not go look for a job, I say feed the kids, but make them work. There's jobs out there. Now, that's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever incited. There's nothing wrong with helping people, but, help them get on their feet and make those adults work. And they use the children so they can get money. And I think it's wrong. Make them get out. That's the biggest Ponzi scheme right there. I'm not saying that, I say feed the little hungry kids and help somebody get on their feet. But when it's from the cradle to the grave, it's ridiculous. And an example, my daughter, she works in Walmart there. and she saw her mother use that. Now they put the stuff on a card, and she saw her mother use that. She goes, when I get older, I want to have a card like that. She probably don't even know what it is, or she just thinks it's, isn't that horrible that, it just goes to show how much little ones pick up on things that adults do. Now, wouldn't that be something for someone to say, well, I want those when I get older? Well, let's hope that her mother raises her a little different and explains the dynamics of getting a job. You know what I mean? But people, they paid taxes in for their Social Security, and that just burns me. And I'm like, a Ponzi scheme? How dare him? It's hard enough. Just say disability. The first thing they do is deny you, and you have to fight them and fight them and fight them, and they hope that during your fight with all your multiple health problems that you'll pass away and they won't have to pay you nothing. And I know that sounds horrible, but it's the truth. Hey, let's call a spade a spade. And then you get some people walk in there and be the most horrendous liar, and they'll hand it right to them. I never understood that. It shouldn't be about how many lies you can tell, but about to look at the person's health, and they want to work but they can't, and then you have to fight them, and it's bad. I hate to see that. And some people already paid in and stuff like that, and people want to act like that. My kids work hard for what they got. I told them they wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You have to work hard. Yeah, you do. My husband, he worked ever since he was 16 years old. He was shoveling horse barns when these other kids was out goofing off. And he always worked. I mean, and, his family wasn't what you call the richest family in the world, but he learned the value of work. You have to, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it. Because mommy and daddy's not going to live forever. If they're supplying their, when a child gets 20 and older and they're not working, or they want to pile up on their parents, you tell them to get a job, work, save the money, and get your own place. So, don't pile up on mom and dad, because mom and daddy ain't going to live forever. You have to teach children things that are helpful. So, you can really destroy a kid by not teaching it anything. Yeah, Selena says, we live off our land. I wish we could still work. Yeah, Selena, the old saying that what Mother Nature gives us, Father Time takes away. So we get up in our years, we get older, and it's we can't work like we used to. But like I said, when I was growing up, a kid, we went fishing and swam in the creeks, and I was a real country girl back then. Because we go fishing and swim in the creeks, wade in the creeks, get lost in the woods like me and my little stepbrother did one time. And I tell you, there's nothing more frightening. And I think that still bugs me to this day. I can go in a hospital and I can get lost so easy. And I think that's why I have such a hang up. I think that time I got lost in the woods that time and didn't know which way to go. And I was with my little stepbrother. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And you know how you go one way and you might circle around and be back in the same spot, I thought. And we finally made it back home, but it was scary. And to this day, I'm not good directionally. Now, if I can see landmarks, If I go somewhere and can remember what I'm seeing, then I can get there fine. But if I don't, I was really Brian said, I've been lost in the woods myself. It's scary, isn't it, Brian? I was just maybe, I might have been 10 years old, something like that. And it's the good old days. Yeah. Running in creeks, that was the way my kids were. They'd rather be in the woods than on the street. I'm blessed about that. Yeah, there's so much in the woods that we can learn from. You guys remember those vines that come down from the trees? I can remember swinging on those, and it was kind of crazy because when you're a kid, you don't think about them breaking. Those little, and a lot of them hang by trees, and you swing across. I remember doing that a lot, and that was brave because it could have broke, but as a kid, we're just totally fearless and clueless. But yeah, we had no fear back then. We were young and spry. But yeah, I think I'm going to check with Beth and see if I know she's been sick, her and her husband. The tire swings, yep. I remember those. I can remember going to a creek. I remember one we went to as kids, and they had a rope hanging up off of a branch. I'll never forget it. This guy, he had his little girl on his back and swung out there, and that thing broke, and he hit the bank. It's a wonder it hadn't killed him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that. Tied to a branch. Yeah. Or being at your grandma's house and she has this big thing of grapes and she tells you not to eat the grapes, and what do? The very first thing you do, and then you end up with a tummy ache. So yeah, I remember spending a lot of time at my grandmother's. She lived in Kentucky, and that's where I was born until somewhere in the middle of the first grade we moved to Indiana, and I've been here ever since. So but yeah, we'd eat them anyway. And those little June apples, those little bitty apples with the spots on them, and we'd get a stomach ache every time. I'm like, Jiminy Crickets. But yeah, those were the days. That's why we only get one chance at being young, right? I think the one that got in the most trouble was my oldest brother. He was always in trouble, do crazy things, and he would do things he knows he would get caught. He would do them anyway. He didn't think that through, did he? But but yeah, my brother, he was a wild one, crazy like me. Now, Rudy, I don't know that much about you, and I wouldn't say you were crazy. That would be kind of mean. But yeah, he was pretty on the ornery side. Not you, Rudy, but my oldest brother. But he's the one that got out and went fishing and was skinny dipping, and I guess they had hooks on the bank, and he sat on one. So my stepmom took him to the emergency room, and he was in the back floorboard on his hands and knees with a fishing hook, and they had to take him to emergency to get it out. I'm like, how embarrassing would that be? I mean, he must have got it in there while he was skinny dipping. Yeah, I saw was a tomboy. I jump off bridges, jump on trains, laugh out loud. Oh my God, Selena, it's a wonder if you didn't get hurt really bad. My goodness. If there was any hobos in that train, it probably scared them off. They're like, what's that? Oh my gosh, Selena, it's a wonder if you didn't break your neck. Mercy. A $45 bill. I didn't know there's a $50 bill, but not a $45 bill. But I never did anything too daredevilish myself. I was just kind of. I remember our dad would tell us to stay in the house, and we could hear his truck coming like a half a mile up the way around that curve. And we had a fence around, chain link fence around the yard, and we could hear him coming. And I tell you, we'd hit that fence and go in the back door because we wasn't supposed to be outside, you see, but that never stopped us. But yeah, we could hear it coming, and we would run over and climb the fence and jump it and go through the side door before we got caught. I had to jump off. That was scary. Had to walk a milk black to this Sonic because they didn't know where I was. Oh my goodness. That would be scary. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, the things we did as kids. I was kind of tame. It was my sister that was 2 years older than me. That we looked like people thought we were twins because we resembled each other, but she was 2 years older than me, so we looked like we were twins. So we looked so similar. So, but a mile, yeah. Then of course my oldest sister, she passed away, and the beat goes on. So we all live in different states. I think my sister that's 2 years older than me lives in Diane, Texas, and I don't know where Anthony is. He's just kind of like a drifter. So, but well, guys, I'll bring part 2 tomorrow. I've got some anchor hockey, and I've got 8 of them this time, and we'll bring those and some other items. But I got to build up my YouTube watch hours because YouTube keeps taking away from me. Good, Brian. So I got to get back in there and roll with the punches. So thank you guys for being here. Everything you've seen and more will be for sale next Thursday. I think I'll contact Beth and see if now Beth has one. She has a late night. If you are a night owl, and I mean late, then you'll want to be there, but I'll let you know either way. I know her and her husband have been sick, so we'll just have to see how that goes. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Love and hugs to you, Selena. We'll catch you later. Second part of the haul tomorrow. We got to spread this out. So you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll catch you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here.